If you desire to walk in alignment with your purpose, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. This is Sarah Locke, and welcome to Purpose Unlocked. Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about silencing your inner critic. And I know that this is something that I've talked about before. It's something that I've struggled with over and over again throughout my life. And it's just something that keeps coming up, especially during pregnancy. I kind of thought that the inner critic would honestly give me a break. I thought she'd be like, you know what? She's pregnant. She deserves us. We should cut it out. But she hasn't. So I want to talk about what I've done previously and then some of the new methods that I've started implementing in my life. So previously, and I know I've mentioned this, I'm really into journaling. I haven't been journaling as much, and perhaps that is something that I do need to be more consistent about. But previously, when I would have these conversations with my inner critic, or I was just feeling really insecure about something, I would journal about it and I would ask myself, why am I feeling this way? So I would get curious, because I feel like that is such an important piece of overcoming the insecurities that we're feeling and honestly the lies that we're telling ourselves so often. So I think getting curious and asking yourself, what is it that this feeling, this yucky feeling that I'm getting, what is it trying to tell me? And then I would often ask myself while I was journaling, I would ask, okay, if my sister came to me or my husband came to me and they said that they were feeling this way, what would I tell them? How would I console them or reassure them? And that has always helped me a lot, because a lot of the things that I was telling myself, if I were to hear my husband or my sister say something like that about themselves, like it would tear me up, because I would never want them to be that mean to themselves as I was being to myself. So that was always reassuring as well, to say, okay, if this was someone else going through it, I would tell them, like, no, you shouldn't feel that way. Like, of course you're awesome and you're doing the things and you're beautiful and I love you. So I would try to remind myself that the people that love me in this life would think I was crazy for thinking, some of those insecure and negative things that I was feeling. So obviously journaling is time consuming, and it doesn't have to be time consuming, but it is something that you have to consciously sit down and think about. You have to have your journal and your pen with you, and we don't always have that. So that is one of the things that I've been trying to figure out on my day-to-day. How do I combat this inner critic when I'm at the gym or when I'm doing something and I'm out and about? And I was listening to a podcast, because if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with podcasts. And there's this one person that I follow, Chris Williamson, and he's awesome. He's super bro-y. So if that's not your style, you're not offending me. But I'm a big fan of his and his adorable little accent. But he interviews some really amazing, smart people. And one of the people he was interviewing recently was someone who was talking about how to balance your emotions and how to lean into some of those uncomfortable emotions and the things that make us feel insecure. And he was saying, instead of trying to battle them, because a lot of the time I'll tell my inner critic, like, no, you're wrong, shut up. And that doesn't work. And fighting against some of those negative feelings and the insecurities, they just keep coming back. And then he was saying, like, lean into it and like kind of embrace it, understand like why you're feeling insecure, which again is a lot of what I did while I was journaling. And I just feel like perhaps I just needed to hear it again in a different way. But what I was able to take away from that conversation, thank goodness, and use at the gym later that week was, again, just getting curious with my inner critic and like actually telling her she's right. So what happened was I was at the gym, and I think this started happening around like 28 weeks, right? So I'm 28 weeks pregnant, which means you're about like 7 months, you're entering the third trimester. And that's when things really start to pop off. Like, you don't feel like yourself. I mean, you haven't felt like yourself the whole time, let's all be honest. But yeah, you're getting bigger and the front of you is getting heavier. And my back was starting to really, really hurt. And I have been seeing, like, when I first started getting pregnant, my energy decreased. And that was really hard on me. And because I wasn't able to be as productive as I usually am, and I noticed that I was like tying my self-worth to my productivity. But also at the gym, like, I just couldn't do as much as I used to. I couldn't lift the weights that I used to lift. And then with the additional weight that comes with growing a baby and entering the third trimester, I noticed like my back could not handle the type of weight that I used to be lifting. And my inner critic, she chirps up and she starts telling me like, oh, you're really going to cut your weight in half, or you're really going to lift like 20 pounds less. And I was like, yeah. And I was like feeling, I got almost so defeated that I was like, yeah, you're right. I am going to cut my weight in half, or I am going to lift 20 pounds less. And then I started realizing if I squat 20 pounds less than I usually squat, I am making up for that in baby weight, because when you're growing a baby, you gain, 25 to 35 pounds. And I think at that point I was I'm almost at around like 20. So I was like, well, if I'm lifting, or if I'm squatting 20 pounds less, this baby that I'm rocking right now is the 20 pounds that I just took off. So first of all, it's actually still the same weight. And secondly, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. I am going to use less weight. I am going to cut it in half because my back is killing me. And because cutting it in half, or anything that I'm doing to lessen the weight, I'm still doing the exercise. I'm still here. I'm still being healthy. And yes, you're right. I am going to cut it in half. And I just asked her, like, so what? And that's when it kind of hit me, like, I didn't have a good answer for the so what. Like, I'm lifted. Who knows? Who even, like, no one knows or notices or cares. And I started thinking, like, my own husband, who half the time is at the gym with me, like, he doesn't know how much I lift. Like, who am I trying to impress? And it was during the Olympics, and I'm like, so then I started like kind of like almost mocking myself, like, what, did you sign us up for an Olympic powerlifting competition that you just didn't tell us about, and that's why you're so mad we're lifting less? Like, what is the problem here? What does it actually matter? And when I stopped to think about it, I just realized, like, I am wanting to lift heavier because, first of all, it's a pride thing. So I'll be honest there. I'll call myself out a little bit. But also it was to tone my muscles, to get stronger, to have the healthiest body I can. And right now, having the healthiest body means being safe, keeping my back safe so I can continue to exercise and work out and have the healthiest body for my baby. It doesn't mean pushing myself and lifting as much as I can, because that's not the season that I'm in right now. So actually, the healthiest, safest thing for me to do is ease up on the weight so I can continue to work out and be healthy and make the progress that I want to make until he arrives. So honestly, it helped so much. So I hope that this helps you, because just stopping to ask my inner critic and tell her, you know what? You are right. I am lifting less weight. So what? Doing that exercise just really quick in my own head at the gym has really, really helped me over these past couple weeks, because, like I said, my back was really killing me. I've been to the chiropractor. I found a physical therapist. Thank the Lord, she's amazing. And so they were able to give me exercises, and I did have to take some time off from the gym because my back was so bad. But I am now able to get back in. And today, after a few weeks of being in a lot of pain, I told my husband today, I feel like $1,000,000. He looked at me like I had 10 heads because I haven't said that in a while. But yeah, it has really transformed my mindset to ask my inner critic, so what? Because what I think you'll realize is that a lot of the time you won't have a good reason as to why you're criticizing yourself to begin with. So you're not a size 6 or a size 4 or whatever. So what? So you didn't get an A+ on this last assignment. You got a B. So what? Like, and it's okay. None of us are perfect. And I think a lot of us, including myself, including my husband, we sometimes strive for perfection, or we strive to be the best version of ourselves. And I don't think that's bad. I think it's really good to hold yourself to high standards. But I think if you hold yourself really high, sometimes you're going to miss. And that's okay, because you're continuing to improve and you're continuing to get better and you're continuing to do things to become stronger or smarter or more successful. And it's not a linear path. And I think that's where I get really tripped up. I hope that you can relate to me on that one. I get really tripped up when it's not linear. And I want it to be linear in the positive direction, saying, I need to continue to lift stronger weights. And I used to only lift this amount, and now I can curl this amount. And it's so tangible, and it's a number, and me and my data points, like, I like to see the numbers going in the direction that I want them to go in. So to me, those tangibles changing is really hard. So it's hard when it's not linear, and it's hard when your body's changing. It's hard when you didn't do as well at something as you had planned or hoped for, but you're still alive. If you're not gone, then God's not done. So if you're still here and breathing, you got work to do, and there's still time to improve. So I hope that this serves you. I hope that you are able to reflect on this conversation and ask your inner critic, like, yeah, you're right, so what? And hopefully it quiets that voice for you a little bit. It did for me. So for me, this has been a huge lesson learned over the past few weeks and has been really transformative. So if this serves you as well, please be sure to give me a like, leave a comment. It really helps me get my message out there to more people. And again, if this helps you, share it with someone that you love, because I think we all need this help in our lives. I know that I did. Thanks.
Thank you for the precious gift of your time. If you found this helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone you love. Until next time, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous.